The Stay Numb and Carry On thing, I think we really liked because, what are those t-shirts that are like, be happy and carry on, whatever they say.
Yeah, with the queen with the crown. Wait, what did
Yeah,
those say?
stuff like that. Like
Forgot
with the
about those. Hey everyone, it's your girl Emily Curl with iHeartRadio, and today we are hanging out with Madison Beer. Hi Madison, good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
First off, we've got to start. Congratulations, Life Support is out. She's in the world. How does it feel to have this project finally out?
Oh, it's amazing. It's been a very surreal past few days, and it's just, I can't believe it's actually out and people have it and are listening to it. It's crazy. I'm so grateful and I'm so happy. That's all I can say.
Yeah. I mean, and I want to dive into the album because it's called Life Support because it literally supported you through a dark time in your life. 17 songs. It's an emotional album. When did you know that you were ready to share these stories, your life experiences out into the world and out with the public?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that it was a very long, windy roller coaster and road. I wasn't sure that I wanted to be honest, for a long time. I was kind of like, why let more of myself and my personal life and things that have happened to me be, picked apart and talked about publicly when I feel like I'm someone who's faced a lot of like online scrutiny. So it was very intimidating. It was quite scary. But then I came to a place where I was like, you know what, if I can provide 10 people with healing and to make 10 people feel less alone and like they are, not struggling by themselves, and I get 100,000 people hating on me or, making fun of me, whatever it might be, it's kind of still worth it to me. So I'm really, really grateful and glad that I was able to come to that conclusion. And there's been so many people and such an overwhelming amount of love and people who are like, I feel less alone because of you in this album and all that kind of stuff. So it makes it worth it at the end of the day for me.
That's what I was going to ask you. It's out in the world for a few days now. How has the fan response been?
It's been unbelievable. It's been so overwhelming, and just seeing all their reaction videos and all of their, recreations of things and even covers, all that kind of stuff. It makes it all so worth it. And I couldn't ask for a better fan base or better people to be in my life. These are my friends and these are people who I truly love and care about. And yeah, it's an honor to have them in my life. For real.
Well, like I was telling you before the call started, I love the album. It's so good. And I have a few clear favorites that I want to ask you about. But the first one that I think really, really touched me was Everything Happens for a Reason. Saying, what in the world did I do to deserve this? I feel like we've all sort of been in that place where you're like, why me? And I'm curious for you, do you think everything happens for a reason? And tell me a little bit behind the song.
I do think everything happens for a reason. I think that while I was creating the song, it was definitely written about, certain things that I was like this, because I feel like we've also all been in a place where it's like, if everything happens for a reason, what is the reason behind this? What could this possibly lead to that is good or positive or whatever? So I completely understand that because I've been through things that I'm like, there's no way this is happening for something good. But I feel like, even if it's just to instill strength in you and just to teach you lessons and stuff, that's enough of a reason. And yeah, Everything Happens for a Reason is a touching song for me as well, because it's a very emotional song, especially that it ends the album, because the whole album I feel like is a roller coaster and up and down of emotions and feelings. So ending it with like, this all happened for a reason was really important and crucial to me.
Another one too that kind of, goes hand in hand with that is Stay Numb and Carry On. Another one that I've loved. And I feel like it's such a universal feeling too, again, of like faking a smile, like getting out of bed, just like getting through your day. Take me back to this time in your life when you did write this song. How did you cope with what was going on in your life?
So Stay Numb and Carry On I'm so glad these are the ones you're talking about. It makes me very happy.
Right.
But Stay Numb and Carry On was a really interesting one. I was diagnosed with BPD around this time, and I wanted to write about it honestly and articulate a little bit of how it feels a lot of the time and kind of verbalize a lot of my emotions in regards to it. So the song kind of touches on a lot of things. Maybe some lyrics feel random and sporadic, but they actually are kind of how it feels in my brain all the time. And that's what I wanted to depict with this song. And the Stay Numb and Carry On thing, I think we really liked because, what are those t-shirts that are like, be happy and carry on, whatever they say.
Yeah, with the queen with the crown. Wait, what did those say?
Stuff like that.
Forgot about those.
Exactly. Like that was kind of we wanted something that was completely opposite. And I feel like I'm quite dark leaning most of the time, and I say things that are a bit like, yeah, well, you know, we're all like numb anyways. And so that was kind of where I went with it. I was just like, I want to kind of it be this nice little tongue-in-cheek, almost satirical song. I was at a point where I felt very numb to things, and I was like, I've been through so much that you can do anything and it won't even faze me. That's not actually how I feel. I'm a very sensitive person, but yeah, you know.
Well, that's one thing I've always admired about you, even in all of our interviews, is you are so open about mental health and what you're struggling with. And even another song that I had referenced to was Effortlessly, which kind of touches on that too. Has it been a positive experience for you personally, like for Madison, sharing this? Has this been therapeutic, you know, getting to talk about your mental health? What is that experience like, sharing something so personal?
Absolutely. It's been so therapeutic, and it's been so, like I said, like just having people feel less alone and people be able to be like, oh, like there's someone else out there who feels this way. That means the absolute world to me, because I know how it feels to feel like you're alone in a struggle, and I know how it feels to feel like the world is against you and nobody understands you, and that you're standing alone in the middle of nowhere and no one cares. And I wanted this music and this album, and just even the stuff I talk about, I want it to at least make somebody, even if it's one person who watches this interview, listens to the album, whatever it might be like, okay, I feel a little bit better about my situation. Like even last night I tweeted, it's an article about the positive traits of BPD. And I tweeted it because I was seeing a lot of people who have also been diagnosed being like, I feel like, you know, there's always so much being said that's negative about it, and people only talk about the downsides, when in reality people with BPD have a lot of really unique attributes that make them beautiful people, and like extremely loving and empathetic, and they feel things so deeply. And so I tweeted this article at one of my fans, just basically being like, give this a read, because it made me feel very seen and understood, and it made me, you know, because there's a lot of stigma around mental health, and every mental disorder, I think, under the sun, there's people really hyperfixate on the negative sides, where I think that there are also positives. I wanted to really just tweet that and talk to them about that, because I don't want there to be this stigma around it that's like, it's all this negative stuff, you know. It's actually like a huge, beautiful conversation that we can all have as a society. We could accept each other a lot more.
And now being diagnosed and putting a name to it and knowing there are other people out there who are also going through it, was that helpful for you in understanding more of the feelings that you're feeling? Like, what did the diagnosis officially do for you in understanding more of that?
I feel like I learn every time I go on social media. I learn something new about myself and how to, you know, cope better. Or like I really like the article that I tweeted was so crazy. It felt like it was written about me, and I was like, I feel so understood right now, and it just made me feel less alone, because there's a lot of, you know, people who further stigmatize any disorder and mental health in general when they call people crazy and whatever, and they, you know, don't think about the backstory behind certain things, and it makes the conversation harder. So I think the more open-minded we can all be about it is the better. And my fan base has become such a safe place for me and for them, and I feel like we have this kind of like family unit that we can all uplift each other and make each other feel less alone, and it's really beautiful.
And now recently you said, this stuck with me, about fame, that, you know, it's the downside of creating art and pursuing your dreams. What do you think is the biggest misconception about you being in the public eye that you think people maybe read into?
As a society, we kind of all play the perfect life role. I'm guilty of doing it. I post, you know, only the photos that I look the best in, and only the stuff that I want people to see, and that's fine. And I think that that's what social media is, and you want to, you know, make yourself and your life look and feel as perfect and picture perfect as you can. But there's so much more to people, and I think that once we kind of start to deconstruct that facade that social media is, and we start to all realize that we, you know, that couple that you just scrolled past on your timeline, who you're comparing yourself to, and you're like, oh my God, they're so perfect. They probably scream and fight at each other. They probably have broken up multiple times. You know, like there's so much more to stories in people's lives that I'm just like, I wish more people, instead of bringing themselves down in regards of other people's lives, took a second and they're like, you know what, that person doesn't always look that perfect.
You know, you talk a lot about your own personal life, personal relationships. Have you had to reset any boundaries after it was released?
For sure. I think boundaries are beautiful. I think that there's also things that you have to, mentally set boundaries for. And if things make you uncomfortable, here's how to deal with these situations. These are not things we're taught in school or even as young adults. I think that now we're at a much more progressive place in regards of mental health in the conversation. So hopefully our like next generation of kids will be raised with awareness of anxiety and depression and how these things can affect you and whatever, because I feel like people like who are my parents and the older generations, they kind of not laugh at it, but they don't take it as seriously and they don't think it is as real as I guess, a generation like ours does because of social media and the awareness that it's brought. But I feel like I have had to set more boundaries and I feel like I have learned to remove myself from situations that feel like situations I don't want to be in. I've learned to say no and feel very confident in that. I've learned my feelings and how I feel should never be spared for anybody else. And if something is bothering me or hurting me, or if I'm in a room and I feel like there's a conversation being had that, maybe it doesn't involve me, but I feel like I need to put my opinion in, I will. And yeah, I just think there's nothing wrong with that. And setting boundaries for yourself that are even being on social media and being like, hey, brain, let's do a little pause and mental health check, or like like a checkpoint. Are we happy sitting here scrolling on Instagram or TikTok for 5 hours? Is something good coming out of it? Am I comparing myself to people? Am I feeling bad about myself? Am I being wasteful with my time? Like, if you just are able to initiate some like checkpoints in your life, or simply just like, I feel like I could be doing something else with my time, and being able to just turn that off, setting that boundary and being like, let me do something that's going to make me feel good and something that's going to, bring a layer of light into my day and end it up. No, I used to rip myself apart, and people have pointed this out on like live streams and interviews where they're like, she's always so self-deprecating and she's always like constantly talking about herself in such a negative way. And I started to really realize that I would always say things like that about myself, and I would literally I would always be saying things like that subconsciously, like, no one likes me, I'm not funny, I don't have any friends, like whatever it would be, stuff like that. And then once I stopped doing that, and I was like, don't talk about yourself, because you would never talk about your best friend that way. So why are you talking about yourself that way? And once I kind of stopped doing that and I gave myself more positive affirmations, I started feeling a lot better from within.
I love that. And Madison, one last question for you before we go, because you are so self-aware and you're so in tune with yourself, how do you approach love and new relationships moving forward?
I'm very cautious with who I choose to invest my time into, and I'm very cautious with who I give my heart to. Again, that's a boundary that I've set. I've realized my worth over the past few years, and I've realized my ability to love is endless, and I have so much of it to give. And I feel like I have given it to the wrong people in the past, and I've wasted a lot of time, and they taught me very valuable lessons, but I don't feel like my love has been given to the right people in the past. And so I'm very cautious now, and I only entertain people who I feel like are going to reciprocate the love and energy and respect that I deserve. And I highly advise everybody to do the same.
Amen to that, Madison. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your time, and congratulations again. Life Support out now. Everybody go stream it. Madison, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. Did you like that video? You can check out more over here. And don't forget to subscribe to iHeart right here. And if you're already a longtime fan, make sure you ring the bell down below so you don't miss a single video. Bye guys.